Today on Public Eye News, Senator Gary Peters returns from Greenland after discussing relations with the Prime Minister. But first, Governor Whitmer signs legislation to reduce phone usage in the classroom.
Coming up, Kenneth Hithmoth will give you your weather forecast. We'll take a look at conditions for today and days to come. And later, Luke Niddle will give you your sports breakdown. I'm Bianca Kroll.
And I'm Emma Maratz. You're watching Public Eye News. Governor Whitmer has signed two bipartisan bills that will help reduce distractions in the classroom. The bills state that school districts in Michigan should create plans of action to help keep devices away, unless in the classroom for usage or in states of emergency. Studies have shown that higher screen times cause higher chances of depression and anxiety, lower attention spans, and have created a negative impact on social skills in teenagers. Districts will have control over what their phone policies include, as they talk about what is best for their community. This will include ways to use phones as academic tools. Several schools in Michigan, along with states across the country, have already implemented new policies regarding phone use in the classroom. And a lawsuit from the Department of Justice has been dismissed. The lawsuit, dismissed by federal judge Hala Jarboe, was requesting Michigan's entire voter registration list with no changes, including date of birth, social security numbers, and personal identification numbers. In the lawsuit, the Department of Justice argued that under the Civil Rights Act of 1960, the National Voter Registration Act, and the Help America Vote Act, they have a right to the list unedited. Judge Jarboe said that the Help America Vote Act does not require any disclosure of voter records, and that the voter list is not simply a piece of paper or an electronic document that comes within an election.
An owner and 3 employees of Oxford Center will stand trial in the 6th Circuit Court in Oakland County. These felony charges are in connection with the death of 5-year-old Thomas Cooper. Owner Tamla Peterson, safety manager Jeffrey Monster, and primary management Gary Markin are facing charges of 1 count of second-degree murder, a potential life offense. Alita Moffett, operator of the hyperbaric chamber, was charged with 1 count of involuntary manslaughter and 1 count of medical records with intentionally placing false information. The Oxford Center provides therapy for children with various health conditions through hyperbaric oxygen therapy. While Cooper was undergoing treatment, the chamber caught fire and exploded. The standards to operate the chamber were discarded at the time of his death. A pre-trial date has not yet been set. And the Michigan Department of Agriculture and Rural Development, or MDARD, has announced more than $250 million in grant funding. This is to strengthen Michigan's food, forestry, and agriculture economy, create new jobs, and cultivate rural prosperity. Over the past year, MDARD has launched innovative new grant initiatives and strengthened regional food systems. The department also has its first-of-its-kind Farm to Family program that was awarded more than $730,000 in 2025. This was to support food hubs and farm stops. MDARD also has invested more than $252 million since 2019. These areas included strengthening Michigan's food and agricultural businesses, building rural infrastructure, advancing agricultural research and education, and protecting Michigan's natural resources. And a local mom in Michigan is hoping to inspire some young people with an invention that's now keeping elementary schoolers in the state warm during heavy snow days. This inventor also working with teachers to help them show their kids how they can come up with their own big ideas. WSB 22's Keelan Hall shows how she found a solution for wet snow gear that keeps kids dry during and after school.
In Mrs. Kelly's 4th grade class, it's just about time to head outside for a competition to see who can build the best snowman. It gives students an extra break in their day, and it gives us a chance to see a new invention for the classroom in action.
I never knew an inventor. I never talked to anybody who made anything. I just kind of was like, I'm a mom. We figure things out.
What Karen Smoots figured out was that a simple plastic molding could dry all the snow gear coming in from our snowman makers in just 20 minutes. Borrowing heat from the venting system, the Eco Dryer doesn't just deal with ice and snow, it tackles some of the germs left behind after running, sliding, and building in the snow.
Sniffles and wiping the nose, or somebody coughs and they put their hands back in the gloves. It's just a breeding ground for bacteria. So this is made with antimicrobial agents, so when they put their gloves on, nothing grows on this glove dryer, and we start to inhibit the bacteria that's in their gloves too.
And 11 years after her first school sale, Mrs. Kelly's class is just one of thousands of classrooms in Michigan that keep the dryer handy. And each kit comes with a lesson plan teachers can use to spark conversation around big ideas their students might be brewing, like how to build a heater or a top-tier snowman.
And so we made a curriculum for both K through 2nd and then 3rd through 5th graders that the teachers can use in the classroom for credit hours. So it kind of teaches them about just using their mind to develop and create and think differently than just textbook.
Kylan Hall for WSBT 22 News.
Don't go anywhere, we'll have your weather and statewide news after this break.
Next time, parents navigate the ever-changing world of freshwater. Through floods and droughts, they persevere to raise the next generation. This is Parenthood.
Tonight at 8 on WNMU TV. Welcome back to Public Eye News. I'm Kenneth Hickmott, here to bring you your weather forecast for today. Taking a look at the sky cam outside on campus, we can see we have some overcast skies with some light snow falling, and we see that most of the sidewalks, the snow has melted, so we do have some wet conditions on our sidewalks. Taking a look across the map, we can see Houghton with a high of 21 and cloudy, Ironwood 21 and cloudy, Iron Mountain 24 and cloudy, Menominee seeing some sunshine, partly cloudy and 29. Taking a look at the other side of the state, we see Escanaba 27 and cloudy, Manistique 26 with some light showers, Sault Ste. Marie 21 and partly cloudy, and Marquette 21 and snowy. Taking a deeper look at today's conditions, we can see that the winds are coming from the northwest at about 13 miles per hour, and our barometric pressure is 30.11 inches and rising. Taking a deeper look into our conditions tonight, we can see it's going to be mostly cloudy with temperatures dropping down to about 15 degrees with winds coming from the northwest at about 10 to 15 miles per hour with gusts reaching up to 20 miles per hour. And our moon phase tonight is going to be a waning crescent. Taking a look at the conditions tomorrow, we can see we're going to be getting some sun, mostly sunny, with a high of 30 and a low of 20, and our winds are going to be coming from the northwest at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. Bringing our attention to our weekend, we can see Friday, it's going to be a high of 39 and a low of 21, mostly cloudy. Saturday, high of 37 and a low of 28, again, mostly cloudy. And then Sunday on 39 and a low of 27, mostly cloudy. Hopefully going to see some sun this weekend and the temperatures are rising. That's all I have for weather. Back to you at the desk.
Thanks, Kenneth, for that weather update. Now on to statewide news. Senator Gary Peters has returned from a trip to Greenland to help support the U.S.-Greenland relationship. This trip is after President Trump has threatened to purchase Greenland on several occasions. Peters was joined by several other senators who traveled to Greenland's capital, Nuuk, and were met by the Prime Minister, members of the Cabinet, members of Parliament, and Danish military members from Joint Arctic Command. The group traveled to Pipfook Space Force Base, which is the U.S.'s northernmost military installation. Senator Peters has talked about how the Arctic region is important to U.S. national security. And state officials have put out a warning about the purchase of an unregistered illegal pesticide. The warning comes after people were poisoned last year. The Michigan Department of Health and Human Services and the Michigan Department of Agriculture and Rural Development have stated that pesticides containing dichlorovos, which can be found on websites like Amazon and eBay, should not be purchased. Dichlorovos is very harmful to humans and can cause sweating, vomiting, and headaches. Brands like Sniper and No Pest are unregistered with the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency and are illegal to use in the home. While the exact number of people that were poisoned is unavailable, it is known to be less than 6 cases. And Attorney General Pam Bondi testifies on Capitol Hill today as the Justice Department faces pushback over the latest release of the Jeffrey Epstein files. Survivors of the late convicted sex offender are questioning extensive redactions in the DOJ files and why a number of documents are still being withheld. Natalie Brand has the latest from Washington.
This is not an issue that's going away. and we're not going to stop.
Survivors of Jeffrey Epstein are demanding answers from the Justice Department about what some lawmakers estimate are 2.5 million documents still being withheld related to the convicted sex offender's case.
The DOJ needs to do its job. Give us the rest of the files and start the investigations.
Their pleas came ahead of Attorney General Pam Bondi's testimony before the House Judiciary Committee, where she faced questions about the DOJ's handling of the files.
You apologized to the survivors in your opening statement for what they went through at the hands of Jeffrey Epstein. Will you turn to them now and apologize for what your Department of Justice has put them through?
I'm not going to get in the gutter for her theatrics.
Survivors, in a new letter to Attorney General Bondi, say the files remain incomplete in a way that is both, quote, staggering and indefensible.
We've released more than 3 million pages, including 180,000 images, all to the public, while doing our very best in the time frame allotted by the legislation to protect victims.
Survivors allege the redactions protect some high-profile individuals while at the same time revealing some victim names and exposing identifying information.
Abusers' names and contact information is redacted while our faces and stories are left on full display. This is not protection. This is betrayal.
The Department of Justice maintains it's working to identify, review, and redact any potential victim information. Natalie Brand, CBS News, Washington.
And after this short break, our very own Luke Niddle will have your sports breakdown.
Mammals. How did our story begin? New discoveries are revealing bizarre creatures.
We have the very earliest ancestors of mammals.
Who evolved before the dinosaurs.
4 times as old as the oldest T-Rex.
Enduring some of the deadliest days on Earth.
It became apparent that there were 2 extinction events.
What was the secret to their survival? Mammal Origins on Nova.
Tonight at 9 on WNMU TV.
Welcome back to Public Eye Sports. My name is Luke Niddle, and I'll be taking you through our Wednesday breakdown. Starting off in the Superior Dome, it's that time of the year once again for the Wildcats women's lacrosse team. After a long 10 months of waiting, NMU is ready to pounce on the 2026 season and make a run for the top of the GLIAC. Picked to finish second this year in the preseason conference poll, including a first-place vote, the Cats look to knock the reigning champ GVSU Lakers off that top spot, with Grand Valley having won the last 5 GLIAC championships in a row. Several key pieces return, including all GLIAC nominees Josie Lukoski, Caitlin Wozni, and Sophie Langsdale. NMU will kick off their season tomorrow evening against the Calvin Knights at 5 p.m., followed by Northwood on Sunday at noon, with both contests at home. Crossing things over to the floorboards, not much has slowed down the Pistons in the month of February so far, who look to keep the engine pumping against the Toronto Raptors tonight. Motown has won 5 of their last 6 contests, including a 110-104 dub against the Charlotte Hornets that saw 4 total ejections due to some third-quarter fisticuffs. An announcement has been made. Both Jalen Duren and Isaiah Stewart are facing hefty suspensions, with Stewart in particular serving a 7-game suspension due to his status as a repeat offender and him leaving the bench to throw a punch at Miles Bridges. Tip-off against Toronto tonight is set for 7:30 p.m. And ending things across the pond, it's a great time to be cheering on the U.S. Olympic hockey teams. In the preliminaries last night, the U.S. women's team blanked the reigning champion Canadian national team 5-0. The U.S. got off to a hot and fast start, throwing kitchen sinks at Canada through the first 2 periods, en route to a 22-10 shot discrepancy in 40 minutes of action. 2 goals from Hannah Bilka and a 20-save shutout by Erin Frankel were heavy contributors in the thrashing. Canada will have one more preliminary match against Finland, while the Stars and Stripes will prep for a tilt with the Italy national team on Friday at 3:10 p.m. Eastern. That's all I have for sports. Back to the desk.
Well, thank you, Luke, for that sports update. Emma, how do you feel about the UP 200 coming up this weekend?
I've actually never gone, so I'm very tempted to check it out this weekend.
I definitely want to check it out myself. I want to see those dogs racing.
And that's all the time we have at Public Eye News today. I'm Emma Maratz.
And I'm Bianca Kroll.
We'll see you tomorrow.
The preceding program was produced by WNMU-TV, Northern Michigan University Public Television, in studios located in Elizabeth and Edgar Hardin Hall.